I'm a few days into the course, 1 week, and it's been tremendous for the amount of strides I've been able to take, and also I think just my confidence and being able to feel like, okay, I can do this. Being able to work with you feels like I'm on a team that's like striving for success, and I do best on teams. So it's been really good for me.
Awesome. That's fantastic to hear. I appreciate that. So tell me what's going on for you and how can I help?
Great. Okay. So I feel like in terms of the LSAT, I feel like a large portion of it is mindset. And that's something that's actually one of my strengths. I've been a professional dancer. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. And so having this sort of like approach to it and discipline, I feel like I've got a good grip on that. And I've been watching all of your other blogs, and there's a lot of answers in there. I'm 6 months out from the test, or my projected test date. I feel like I have a good grip on the early part of my schedule. It'll be strategizing, learning habits. In the middle, it's going to be compounding those skills, drilling, really reinforcing this sort of muscle memory and toolkit. And towards the end of the prep is when I'll get that experience with the practice tests. And that's when the tests start to really come in. So I don't know if you can help me with this. Where I'm really struggling is this white hot terror of not having any clue of where I can go to school. Before I was in the course, I sort of felt like Eeyore, like, okay, I get all this. I'm just going to do my best, like shrug, just do your best. And when I entered your course, like a few days in, when I had access to the resources you provide, I was sitting in on those admissions, lectures and workshops, the study groups, and this exposure to other students who had tips, and they were so smart and passionate, sort of like when we talk about like a logic game, when you get a really great diagram, how it breaks the game wide open. I felt like being in your course like broke my possibilities wide open. But where I'm at is that my practice tests aren't going to come much later in my prep. And so I am walking around sort of vibrating in fear. I don't even know where to start, because I feel like I really have a chance to go to a school that I really want to go to. If I can make this happen for myself. But that being said, I hopefully would be a splitter. I have a really low GPA, what 3.19. So I don't know if that's something you can help me with. I'm walking around terrified every single day. I don't know where to even start.
I get the sense it's around the practice tests. Is that right?
Yes, because my practice tests, I'm not in that stage yet. I don't have a grip on where I'm at. I don't know if I'm a 150s person. I don't know if I can get that 170. I just don't even know. And so I'm not sure how to proceed when they talk about researching schools. I don't even know what to do.
Yeah, it's hard to know at this point because the LSAT score will determine so much. And even if you were doing timed exams now, they wouldn't reflect your potential. They would just reflect where you are now, which is relatively earlier in the process. So there may not actually be a way to know, and that sucks. And your GPA is one piece of the puzzle. It could certainly be worse. 3.19 is not bad, but the higher your LSAT is, the better your odds will be regardless of what happens. So what you may want to do is get a broad sense of what's on the exam, take a cursory overview, maybe get through those foundational lessons as quickly as possible to build that baseline familiarity. Then you could start mixing in some timed exams, maybe once every 2 weeks. As it gets closer, you'll ramp it up, but at least that would let you enter relatively earlier. So you could modify the schedule.
Oh, okay. That's nice to hear, because I was like, I gotta stick with this exactly. So I was really holding myself to that. A follow-up question to that, starting to weave in some of these earlier practice tests just to get a grip, literally just to get a grip. Would you recommend doing those timed or untimed? Is that a ridiculous question?
Well, what's the goal? The goal is to get a taste of where you might be, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So then timed would be the best, I think.
Yeah, that would be a more accurate representation, but don't take it as reflective of your full potential. I don't like recommending cold diagnostics because they're often discouraging. If you want to use it as a benchmark to later measure your progress, that's great. But even if you got a 150 now, that wouldn't mean that you couldn't get a 170 plus with 6 months. You've got plenty of time.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty helpful. Okay. Being able to steer off the course there and kind of just see and using it as a benchmark. And that way I even have an idea of what to do and kind of what schools to even look at. Because that's really, it's really holding me back, I feel, from even having that inline vision and that goal in mind of this is what I'm aiming for. I feel like I'm just aiming like, okay, I just want to do the best. So that's been kind of hard. Okay, cool. That helps me out a lot.
Of course. And the other thing I'm thinking about here is the idea of, like, let's say there's a cold swimming pool. You don't want to jump in because of the shock. But if you're just kind of walking around the perimeter of the pool all day, you're getting more and more nervous about what it is. Turns out you jump and it might not actually be that bad. So I just want you to get over that. That's really what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. Okay, great. That's a great example. Thanks so much.
Sure.
I think I've been doing that. Okay. All right. Nice. Okay. So I have another question that is just really random about letters of recommendation. So because I've been a dancer, professional dancer for all of my career, I haven't really been in one place for a significant amount of time. And maybe some interactions that were significant happened 6 years ago or 7 years ago. My background, I've been a temp, I've been in call centers, I've been a receptionist, retail. It really is all over the place. And I've been out of my undergrad now for a little bit over 6 years. So I don't know where to start in terms of who to even consider to write my letters of recommendation.
Yeah, that's a fair point. So who have you worked under fairly recently in the past year or two who got to know you well?
That's a great question. In the last year or two, it's a bit tough because it's been very chaotic. Actually, I have one. She's the artistic director and the founder of this organization in San Francisco. So I have worked significantly with her. She might be a really good option to look at. I don't know why I hadn't thought of her before.
Cool. Yeah, go for her. Or you could go back further. The question is just how deep was the relationship? Because as time goes on, the memory gets a little bit hazy with anybody, right? So as if it's a more fresh relationship, that'll be better. Or if it was deeper, then that could still make up for that in some way. So you could go for either to expand the search a little.
Fresher or deeper. Okay, so follow-up question with that. Like, for example, I worked in a call center and I only worked there, I believe, for maybe 2 months, 6 to 8 weeks total. But while I was there in the 6 to 8 weeks, I really made an impact. All of my leaders, all of the managers, anybody I was working under, explicitly would consistently tell me how engaging I was, and I was amplifying their program, even people that had been there years before me. So they had a lot of really great things to say. And the person that I reported to directly, he is a veteran, and he led his own forgive me, I don't have the correct terms for it. He was a leader during his service and had seen a lot. And he had written me a card that was very heartfelt and very significant to me, especially with his background and being a veteran and having been in live combat, and how complimentary he was of my work ethics and demeanor and my ability to provide a positive, environment. So I only worked under him for 6 to 8 weeks. Is that something, is he a potential candidate because of his status or being a veteran and having his experience, or should I keep looking, you think?
He could be a good candidate. Yeah, I would definitely keep him in the running. I would definitely consider him, but think more on it too.
Okay, that's pretty helpful. All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anything else?
I feel pretty good, especially because I believe that you will be holding maybe some diversity statement workshops, addendums, and sort of kind of talking more about that. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So I'll be holding workshops in a variety of different areas of the application over the coming weeks and months. We focused on personal statements for now, but I will be covering all the other areas too.
Okay, so a quick, just before I let you go here, and I know that you'll cover it, is a diversity statement written in the same voice and tone as a personal statement is?
Yeah, it can be. And I don't see any reason for it not to be. It is personal in nature as well.
Okay, that's really helpful. I didn't know where to start, even kind of getting an idea in my head of what to do with that if it had a different tone.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. So if you were going to write a personal statement on a diversity background topic, you could just make that a separate diversity statement and the tone is the same, just a little bit shorter, perhaps.
Okay. Wow. Great. I feel so much more calm. I was ready to just come in swinging, like help, please, but I feel a lot better actually just right now.
Oh, you've got this. Fantastic.
Whew. Okay.
Excellent. Well, before we sign off, what would you say is the biggest insight you got from our call today?
Uh, I would say the biggest insight is, first of all, that it's okay to play around with the day-to-day schedules, depending on my personal needs, which is something it seems obvious to say that, but it's the swimming pool example was just so fantastic. It's like, if not taking a practice test until a few months from now is really doing me a disservice, flipping the script in my head and being able to approach it not as a barometer of my right now where I'm at, but to use as a bench to jump off of. So that was really helpful.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Well, thanks for a great call. I look forward to seeing you in class soon.
Awesome. Me too. See you soon, Steve.
Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.